When you have finished your meditation, then you can chant the spreading of loving kindness and forgiveness. Make your mind calm and at ease first, and then dedicate the merits afterwards. Don't practice sitting meditation and dedicate the merits at the same time. If you do, they won't receive them. When he had finished his meditation, he made his determinations, asking forgiveness for any wrongs and making his mind clear and pure. Then he determined, "Today is my national day. My mother is seriously ill. By the merits and skillful qualities I have made from ordaining as a monk and practicing insight meditation, if it is true as I've heard, may my mother be immediately cured of her illness." My second determination. My grandfather wanted his grandchild to bring back something good from Thailand. Now his grandson has found that something good. My third determination. May my 3 friends who live close to my house and who study with me be happy and prosperous. When these 3 friends have received this dedication of mine, may they immediately reply by letter. A dedication gives fruit immediately. You don't have to wait as you do with the mail system. That day was the National Day of Norway. Viggo's friend had gone to his house in Oslo. They were all talking together, but his mother was lying in her room convalescing. She had just come back from the hospital. She was still weak, so she stayed in her room. The time Viggo sent his psychic telegraph was about 10 p.m. But in Oslo it was morning time. He knew this because of the letter he received. At that time his grandfather saw a yellow cloth flash before his eyes. Everybody had a strange feeling, and all simultaneously thought of Viggo. So they started talking about him. His grandfather figured that Viggo had probably ordained as a monk, because he saw the yellow cloth flash in front of him and then disappear. His father talked about Viggo learning linguistics at Chulalongkorn University. When his mother, who missed his son, heard them talking about Viggo and his grandfather talking about seeing the yellow cloth, she dragged herself out of her room, inspired by the thoughts of her son. Her weakness disappeared, and she was able to sit at the table and talk with the others for hours. When the conversation was finished, she began to write a letter. She wrote down the date and time. She wrote to her dear son, describing the events that had arisen in their house on that day, Norwegian National Day. Your friends came too, to this house, and your grandfather saw a yellow cloth. She asked whether it was true that he had become a Buddhist monk, and whether he was really practicing meditation. Your mother is recovering from an illness, but when I heard them talking about the yellow cloth and about you, my illness immediately disappeared. She wrote about 4 or 5 pages. It took many days to get here, passing through Chulalongkorn University, and from there to the Wat. As soon as Viggo read the letter, tears came to his eyes. He translated it for me. At that time, he had asked for me to give 1 hour a day of my time to him. At night every evening, I wasn't to go anywhere at that time. He said that he had come a long way, crossed the oceans, so that I couldn't go anywhere else. I had to give 1 hour for him. All that I have said is backed by evidence. As time went on, Viggo was finishing these studies and was preparing to go back to Norway. They have a rule there that whenever a young man finishes his studies, he must go into the army for a year. There is no selection. All are upright. This was the law in his country. Everybody had to be a soldier for 1 year, but they didn't go to war with anybody. Viggo came to tell me that he was finishing his master's degree, but he wanted to stay in Thailand for another year. What should he do? I advised him to do the same as before, to sit for 2 hours, walk for 2 hours, and then dedicate the merit of his action to 1. The King of Thailand, 2. The Dean and teachers in his faculty at university, 3. The country of Norway, his father, mother, and teachers, 4. Then to dedicate the merits to the Ministry of Defense, asking them to defer his conscription into the army for another year. Viggo practiced in this way 2 nights in a row. Then he took leave of the robes to return to the university. When he was disrobing, he told me that if he did not get permission to stay longer, he would write me a letter to explain. It may take a long time, but if he was able to stay longer, he would immediately send me a telegram. He asked me whether he would end up marrying Rati, a young Thai lady with whom he had been in love for many years, ever since he was in Norway. He asked me whether I thought it was appropriate. I told him that I didn't know. He should sit in meditation and look into it for himself, whether he would be marrying her. This is another of the benefit of sitting meditation. He went to sit and shortly came to tell me, "Luang Po, it seems we won't be getting married after all." How did he know? His mindfulness told him. His recollection of past lives. He had not married with this girl before. He said, "I will go and marry a girl who is crippled and orphan." That was appear in my meditation. Eventually, he went back to Norway. He was better than the Thais. He put some candles on a tray with some flowers and a bundle of offerings, and went to pay respect to the dean of his faculty and asked for his blessing. He took his leave everywhere in all different places that he'd been. The Thais don't bother